In today's video, we're diving into the character of Riley from Inside Out and her journey through the two movies so far. Riley was born in Minnesota, and her very first memory was a happy one with her parents right after she was born. What makes Inside Out special is how it shows Riley's memories and emotions, like joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust, as characters. As she grew, she developed all these emotions, and around this time, she also made a really close friend named Meg. It was with Meg that Riley learned to play hockey and skateboard, creating some of her most cherished memories. However, everything changed for Riley when she turned 11. Her dad got a new job in San Francisco, which meant she had to leave her home, her friends, and everything she loved in Minnesota. This move was tough on Riley. She tried to adapt to her new life, especially since her dad promised her a new room and other things to make her happy, but it just wasn't the same. She missed her old house, her friends, and her life in Minnesota. The move left Riley feeling different, and she struggled to feel like her old self again. On her first day at school in the new city, Riley was actually excited about going. But when her teacher asked her to introduce herself and talk about her old home in Minnesota, something unexpected happened. She suddenly burst into tears. The memories of her old home hit her hard, and she realized just how much she missed it. Later, during dinner, Riley did something completely out of character. She yelled at her parents. This was surprising because she had never acted out like that before. Then, to make things even harder, she got a call from her old friend Meg. During the call, Meg mentioned that a new girl had joined the hockey team since Riley had moved away. Hearing this made Riley feel upset and even a bit jealous, so she abruptly ended the call. Her frustration only grew from there. She tried to play hockey again, just like she used to in Minnesota, but it wasn't the same. She found herself struggling with the game, and it was frustrating because she had always been good at it. This just added to her growing sense of loss and frustration, making her feel even more distant from her old life. Things got so tough for her that she made a drastic decision. She stole her mom's credit card to buy a bus ticket back to her old house in Minnesota. This moment is one of the most important in the entire movie because it shows just how lost and overwhelmed Riley was feeling. She was so sad and desperate to return to her old city that she wasn't really thinking about the consequences of her actions. As she sat on the bus, feeling down and alone, she began to reflect on what she was doing. It slowly dawned on her that running away wasn't the solution, and she wasn't thinking clearly at all. In a powerful moment of realization, she decided to get off the bus and return home to her parents. When she got back, she finally opened up to them, admitting how much she missed her old home and life. Her parents were incredibly understanding and even shared that they too missed their old home. This moment of honesty and connection between Riley and her parents was deeply emotional and one of the most beautiful scenes in the movie. By the end, Riley started to adapt to her new life in San Francisco. She was trying to adjust and even began playing hockey again, this time with her parents cheering her on. She started to create new memories and moments in her new home, and we see her beginning to grow and evolve as a character. Despite the challenges, Riley was slowly finding her way in this new chapter of her life. Her story continues in Inside Out 2, where she's now fully settled into her new life in San Francisco. She's made new friends and is playing on her new hockey team. Among her new friends, she's especially close to two girls named Grace Shea and Bree Young. They've become best friends, and things are going really well for them. At the beginning of the movie, Riley and her friends are doing great on the hockey team. After winning their latest game, their coach invites them to attend a special skills camp, which gets them all really excited. But the next day, things take a turn when Riley wakes up feeling distressed. Puberty has hit, and everything starts to feel different for her. Her emotions are all over the place, and she's much more sensitive than before. She starts feeling self-conscious and gross, and the idea of going to camp suddenly seems overwhelming. On the way to the camp with Grace and Bree, Riley was really excited about it, but she notices that her friends don't seem as thrilled as she is. It turns out they're not going to the same high school as Riley next year, which means they won't be on the same hockey team anymore. This news hits Riley hard, and she feels a deep sadness at the thought of losing her close friends just as she was starting to feel at home in her new life. When they arrived at camp, Riley made a surprising decision. Instead of sticking with Grace and Bree, she decided to hang out with Val Ortiz, a popular girl she really admired. Her decision to ignore her friends and stick with the cool girls seemed to be driven by the fact that she knew Grace and Bree would soon be going to a different high school. Maybe she felt like it made more sense to start fitting in with the girls who would be on her team in the future. So, during the camp, she started spending more time with Val and her group, even going as far as joining them on the field during the game instead of staying with her old friends. This moment shows how Riley, like many teenagers, was struggling with the fear of losing her friends and the desire to fit in with a new group. It's a time of change for her, and she's trying to figure out where she belongs as she navigates the complex emotions that come with growing up. Riley was really giving it her all to make the team. She woke up early every morning to train hard, and she was doing well. But deep down, she couldn't shake her insecurity. She worried that she wouldn't be able to fit in with the team, especially with the older girls. The coach was also very strict, which only added to her anxiety. One day, she found out that the coach kept a notebook in her office with notes on all the players, including what she thought about each one. Riley couldn't stop thinking about it and became obsessed with finding out whether she had made the team or not. Her curiosity got the best of her, and one night she decided to sneak into the coach's office to look at the notebook. She just had to know where she stood. When she finally got a chance to peek at the notebook, she saw that the coach didn't think she was ready for the team yet. This was a blow to Riley's confidence, but instead of giving up, she became even more determined to prove herself. She decided to change her style completely, even dyeing part of her hair to reflect her new attitude. She was determined to show everyone that she deserved a spot on the team. During the next game, Riley played with fierce determination, but it quickly turned into aggression. She was so focused on proving herself that she refused to pass the puck to her teammates and even stole it from them a few times. While she did manage to score some goals, she also missed a crucial one, and her frustration started to get the better of her. Things escalated when she accidentally ran into her friend Grace, knocking her over. This reckless move got Riley sent to the penalty box, a moment that highlighted just how much her obsession with making the team was affecting her behavior on and off the field. Her intense desire to fit in and prove herself was causing her to lose sight of what really mattered, her friendships and being a team player. She was learning the hard way that sometimes, in trying so hard to belong, you can end up pushing away the very people who care about you most. At that moment, Riley was completely devastated, feeling like a storm of emotions was crashing over her. She was overwhelmed by anxiety, and it became so intense that she had a panic attack. She struggled to breathe and felt like everything was spiraling out of control. It wasn't until her two friends, Grace and Bree, came to check on her that she finally began to calm down. Their concern and support helped her regain some composure. In that vulnerable moment, Riley opened up to them, admitting how wrong she was to ignore them. She confessed that when she found out they were going to a different school, she completely freaked out and didn't know how to handle it. Her two friends listened to her and understanding where she was coming from, and forgave her. By the end of the movie, Riley was anxiously waiting for an email from the coach to find out if she had made the team. Her heart was pounding as she kept checking her phone. Then, her phone chimed, and she saw a silly picture of Grace and Bree. The photo reminded her that even though they were going to a different school, they were still close friends, and that thought made her smile. Val, one of the popular girls Riley had been trying to impress, reminded her that there was always next year if she didn't make the team this time.